National Qualifications Authority and seek to find out from the CEO, what is KNQA doing to ensure that the Kenyan TVET qualifications are recognized regionally and internationally?
Thank you once again, our moderator. And a very good and timely question just after PS has rightly talked about how well our graduates from TVET space are earning some good spaces beyond our boundaries. The Kenya National Qualifications Framework is not just a policy instrument for our national space. In as much as we call it a national qualifications framework, the purpose of the National Qualifications Framework is to ensure that it speaks with other qualifications framework beyond our borders. And of course, we do agree that currently we can see that our borders have become very, very fluid. And the beauty is that our people, especially the youths, are actually moving with skills and competences. And so the question and the facilitation that the Kenya National Qualifications Framework then gives in here, plays in here, provide what we would call a diplomatic anchor for that skill and competence that one has. I did say that the Kenya National Qualifications Framework is a 10-level framework. Within the TVET space, it goes from level 3 until level 6, where level 6 is a diploma. And the beauty of this is that to embrace the reforms, we have already ensured that the modularized curriculum are also mappable within the framework. So it means that whether one has a certificate that was prior issued as level 3, 4, 5, or 6, or they are giving the modular certificates that are stackable until it is a full qualification, any of those is a duly and credible qualification or certificate that shows that one has a skill. It shows that they can actually do what they have indicated that they can do. And so as the Kenya National Qualifications Authority, we are really glad because with the support of the government, we've been able to engage with our counterparts beyond our boundaries. For instance, within the East African community, we're very actively involved working with our East Africa community counterparts to ensure that we have seamless labor mobility within the East Africa community bloc. We already have an East Africa community qualifications framework. Within the IGAD space, the 8 member states, again, Kenya, because of the firmness and the solidness of our education and training space, and how firm our qualifications ecosystem and framework is, we are also working with those other IGAD member states to have a streamlined IGAD qualifications framework. It is already there, the policy framework, and now we are working with the rest to ensure that when a student moves, a graduate moves from Kenya to Ethiopia, to Eritrea, to Djibouti, to any of those countries, with a TVET qualification or any other, it will be accepted for the level for which they have been assessed and certified. Beyond that, we also very active within the continent. Under an umbrella called Africa Continental Qualifications Framework, and we're glad to indicate again because of the soundness of our qualification system and how well it seems to be well linked to the industry. And that is acknowledged also by our peers within the continent. Just recently, about 2 weeks ago, we were celebrating 10 years of implementing the framework, the National Qualifications Framework. We had over 10 of our peers from the continent coming to say how well we are doing. And what it has done is that it has enabled easy articulation to say if our graduate moves with a level 5 certificate or a level 7 certificate, when they get to Congo, when they get to Zambia, when they get to South Africa, when they get to Europe and USA, how is it recognized as such in that jurisdiction? And because of the soundness of our policy framework and the NQF in general, it is recognized for that level for which they have been issued. Because it is a requirement for recognition and respect, what we call mutual trust, of qualifications that is offered in one jurisdiction to be accepted in the other as long as they have followed the requirements that they are required to have. So within the continent, Kenya, South Africa, and Zambia, because again of the soundness of our national qualifications framework and maturity, we are working with the rest of our peers to ensure that we really have a comparable way of recognizing our qualifications. And all this is to ensure that as a TVET graduate, when you move from country A to country B, you will not face those questions where your certificate is queried and even you're declined probably a job because they're not certain of where to place you. And because of the soundness of it and clarity and articulation on how you actually acquired and how then we mapped your qualification in the framework, then we are able to ensure that there is portability, there's acceptability, there is comparability, and also competitiveness of those qualifications. We are therefore glad, and we really look forward to ensuring that we have a framework that is really speaking to that bit of building on mutual trust of qualification. And so we're glad because as TVET, as university, as industry training, as we train our graduates, as we issue them with certificate, we have a tool that supports then acceptability of those qualifications, again, not just within our national space, but beyond our boundaries, wherever and whenever they would find those certificates there. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. But just before you leave, the CEO of KNQA, the TVET subsector has the CBET, and the basic education subsector has the CBE, and of course the university subsector is also planning for a version of the CBET. From where you sit, do you think that there are possibilities that we may have some sort of silos when it comes to curriculum development? And what are you doing to ensure that we achieve harmonization in terms of the sets of the competencies that are developed by different subsectors?
Thank you so much once again, moderator. Yes, as we embrace and move with the new curriculum, and glad to see the major progress made within the basic space with CBC and CBE and CBET within the TVET space. And I can confidently say that also the universities are quite some steps ahead. This week, our team is also involved in our activity with Commission for University Education and other players within the university space, working on the university competency-based education framework. And so you can hear that we are actually working together. I did initially say that the National Qualifications Framework is a harmonizing grid. Our PS, allow me to say this on a light note, she keeps saying that she doesn't think that we are housed properly. When we are domiciled in the State Department for TVET, but we are really grateful for the great support that you've enabled us to really provide and to ensure that the Kenya National Qualifications Framework really plays and delivers to the mandate of providing harmony in the entire education and training space. Prior to enactment of the Kenya National Qualifications Framework Act of 2014, you can hear it is 2014. Yet, as a country, we've had education and training pre and even post-independence. And again, for all those years, our very good institutions, in as much as they were offering very good and sound curriculum and education, we were working in a fragmented way. So you'd find that basic that you've done until what we'd call level 2 in 844, now they hand over those students to the next level to TVET, or they go to the universities directly if they met the minimum requirements. But then the bit of, for instance, moving, especially from TVET to universities, you would find that even admission would vary, because there was no standard way of really ensuring that this seamless progression from, say, level 6, which is a diploma, to level 7, which is a bachelor's degree. And so having the Kenya National Qualifications Framework has actually addressed the issue of silos, and we no longer now have that. And I would, in a very great way, appreciate the players within the qualifications ecosystem, because through the development of such policies like credits, accumulation, and transfer system, we ensure that we have representation across board. TVET institutions are there, basic education is there, universities are there, the industry is there, professional bodies are there to ensure that any form of qualification, any certificate that is issued at any level, a student will not get to a dead end where that certificate duly issued by a credible qualification awarding body tends to be unaccepted by a qualification awarding body for a student who wants to progress, or even an employer who is probably querying credibility of a certificate that was issued by a TVET institution, who later probably a graduate went to another institution at a higher level, a university, and we've had such cases. And so the framework has brought this harmony that was really intended. And again, we are really grateful to all the players, right from basic to TVET to universities, for really opening it up and embracing the National Qualifications Framework and appreciating that you are actually the implementers of the framework. We've been highly supported by the subsector regulators, right from basic, TVET Authority, Commission for University Education, regulators within the professional space. And again, that has brought soundness and firmness and confidence of the qualifications that we have. And so as we look at 10 years down the line of implementing the framework, one of the things that we're duly and confidently celebrating is the breaking of silos and the fragmentation that was there. Our students can confidently move seamlessly from one level to another, and their credits are duly recognized in a standardized and harmonized manner. We will continue to work together and calling upon all the stakeholders to ensure that we even get to next level, even as we embrace CBET and especially TVET and the university space, to ensure that there are no gaps, even for the students getting modularized, going through the modularized curriculum. And we are working on micro-credentials framework, because the way the National Qualifications Framework is implemented is now having those policies that clearly speak to how do we implement a mechanism that would now recognize a certificate that is issued to a student for acquiring a skill and a competence in any other way other than going to the classroom. So we don't want to miss out on any form of earning a skill or a competence. So very soon we shall be having the micro-credentials framework. Again, we're very grateful to all the players who are involved in this. And this is also a way of showing maturity of the National Qualifications Framework. Within the continent, like I previously said, only 3 countries, Kenya, South Africa, and Seychelles and Mauritius, that have kind of a framework that would recognize that kind of a skill. And so we're glad that we are able to make such milestones just to ensure that really qualifications are recognized anywhere and everywhere in the space they find themselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me come to the Secretary of TVET.